This was our last real view of the space station, right not long before the sun went down. You can see the S0 there and the beautiful golden arrays just before the sun went down, and then we separated.
And eventually it was time to pack up and go home, so one of the first things we had to do was close the payload bay doors. And before we did that, we had cold soaked the orbiter the night before so that it stays at a cool, comfortable temperature when it's time to come home. And you'll see us in this next photo. We're kind of dressed appropriately because it is a little bit chilly there. We had some extra clothes on. And like any trip, you got to pack before you come home. And here's Lee and Ellen packing a printer, and Jerry getting some stuff ready to go, closing some panels. And one of the next things we had to do was get on our launch and entry suits. So we had to unstow those and help people get their suits on, which is a little more difficult in zero-G than it was down here on Earth. And this is Mike getting his suit on first, and Jerry and Steve are helping him out and trying to hold him down while he gets it on. And it works pretty good. And then we got Steve in his suit, and me and Steve there are helping him get his harness on. His harness attaches to his parachute. And then once you get all the harness and suit on, then you can strap them into their seats upstairs, and then we get our seats on.
This is a view out the overhead window as we were re-entering the atmosphere, and you can see the red light, the plasma is coming off the tail of the orbiter as we recontact the atmosphere. The entry in many ways is even more dramatic than the launch into space. You got to take all that energy that you put into the orbiter and you got to take it all out, and it comes out in the form of heat. And we made a big right sweeping turn as we flew over KSC. And you'll see the coastline coming into view here in a minute. This is what it looked like out Steve's window as we aligned the orbiter up with the runway. It was a pretty neat feeling to roll out where the computers told you to do, and you look down there, and lo and behold, the runway's there right where it's supposed to be. We are coming down. You can see at an angle of about 20 degrees, and we'll hold that angle of 20 degrees descent angle until we get to about 2,000 feet. And then at 2,000 feet, we begin to pull the nose of the orbiter up to the horizon. And then as we pass through 300 feet, Steve pushes a couple of buttons on the forward part of the orbiter, and we get the gear coming down. It's always amazing to me, and I think it's a tribute to the technology, that we can start this whole process for landing half a world away. Literally, we start the burn someplace over Australia, and then as it turned out, for this landing, we were able to touch down within about 100 feet of the desired touchdown point. I think it's a real tribute to all the hard work that went into the mission. And then finally, we get the drag chute out, and that slows us down and lessens the load on the nose gear as we roll out at Kennedy Space Center. And we were quite happy to be home after 11 days in space and traveling about 4.5 million miles.